Hello besties, welcome. Let's do a little introduction about me real quick before we get into this video. To get started, my name is Ava. If you don't know me from TikTok or Instagram, go follow both of my accounts. They're right here. Go follow them, please, because your girl could use a little bit more support. I'm new, and I would just really appreciate it. It's a fun time over there. Go over there, trust. I love books. I've always loved books since I was little. Absolutely love reading. My two favorite genres are romance and thriller. I try to get into fantasy, but fantasy is like, it's a hit or miss for me. I loved ACOTAR, but then like trying to get into like Fourth Wing, I couldn't get into it. But I'm going to retry, don't worry, this fall. I have some fantasies I do want to read, and I can make a whole separate video on that if you guys want. But that's me. I live in Massachusetts. I'm 18 years old. I just graduated high school and now I'm looking to own a bookstore, so hopefully I can go to college and do that. But for right now, I'm just making content, show you guys my interests, and let's connect online, make some book besties in the process. So yeah, so with this video I'm going to be just talking about all the books I've read this month, all the books I've read this year. There's going to be so much editing in this video because I'm just going to have to cut like half the video. That's how it is. I made a latte this morning, so delicious. Just s'mores latte with the Chobani s'mores creamer. Delicious. I told you guys how I make it on my book, on my TikTok, so just go over to my TikTok and you'll see. Okay, so this year I've read 17 books so far, I believe. I think. Now I gotta count them. Yep, 17 books, and I'm about to read 18 because I'm about to finish my current read, which is The Correspondent, and it is so good so far, and I'm listening to the audiobook of it. Highly recommend listening to the audio if you're going to read that book, because it's told with email letters. So like each page is like a letter from someone, or a letter from our main character, or like an email, and so you hear it from all the different voices, from like a French guy, and then like her in her British accent, and it's so much more immersive. Just trust. Okay, so I'm doing pretty good this year, considering last year I only read up to 20 books. Halfway through the year, I'm already beating, pretty much, my full year last year, so really excited about that. My goal is 50 books, but I'm not going to pressure myself to read 50 books. That's just a goal. It's something that I would like to reach for, but if I cannot read 50, I've already read 17 so far. I'm doing great, and I'm proud of myself for what I've read already, and as long as I'm reading books that I'm enjoying, I'm not worried about how many I'm reading. I just want to worry about that I'm enjoying the books, you know. In January, we started off reading 4 books, so it was a pretty good month. So the very first book I read was Ward D by Freida McFadden, and I gave this 3 stars. I honestly really want to bump down my rating to 2 stars. Why did I dislike this book so much? I hear so many people talking about how it is an amazing thriller, how it is one of her strongest. In my opinion, it wasn't. It was way too predictable. I felt that it was so boring, and it put me in a 3-month reading slump, because I started reading it in October last year and finished it in January of this year. I had it, I would bring it to school with me, I would read it in between classes and stuff, and no, I just could not get into it, and it just was not for me. Like, I don't know if I'm the only person who thinks it's repetitive and kind of boring. I feel like with Freida McFadden books, her books are very predictable, because she pushes out so many books a year. I mean, this year she's already going to be pushing out 4 books, and I think that she's kind of losing the plot. I'd rather her come out with 1 or 2 books in a year and then be like so thought out, the plot's interesting, you know, the twist is getting you, instead of 4, 5, 6 books a year and they just be like repetitive and cheesy and not your favorite, you know. Then I read Most Eligible by Isabella Engel. I think that's how you say her name. A lot of these I'm probably going to butcher the name, so I apologize in advance. I rated this 4.25 stars. This was like a bachelor book. I got it from Book of the Month. If y'all knew their January picks, that's the book I picked. And it was really interesting, and I'm really happy I went with it. I heard good things about it, so that's why I picked it up. It's like bachelor, like she's on a reality TV show trying to find love. But in reality, she's actually in love with the host of the show, not even any of the people on the show. And then it gets interesting. Really good read. It's not too long. It's just fun. It's a fun time if you like all the reality TV shows. Like, then I read We Used to Live Here by Marcus Kluwer, and I rated that 4.75 stars. One of my favorite thrillers I've read this year. It was so good. And if you want a thriller that isn't like super graphic, like it's not gonna twist your stomach kind of thing, like it's not very deep into graphics, it's just more, makes you more paranoid. If anything, it made me very paranoid. but it didn't like gross me out in a way that's like there's blood everywhere and this and that. It's not one of those type of reads, which I do like, that it's a different kind of psychological thriller, so it's like diving into a different area of thrillers than I usually read. It messed with my mind so much. It was such a good read, and I highly recommend for all my thriller lovers. And then the last book I read was Picking Daisies on Sundays by Liana Chinati, and I rated this 4.75 stars. Hands down, one of my favorite romances I've ever read. Hands down. And that was the first book I read from her. I know she has 3 books out, or she has 2 out currently, and she's gonna have a new one out in August, I believe, something like that. Her book is just, it's cute, it's fun, it's a YA romance, so definitely, like, if you're a younger teenager looking for a cute little romancy book that has no spice in it, read that. Okay, in February, I read 3 books. I read Dear Debbie, and gave that 4.75 stars. That's one of my favorite Freida McFadden reads that I've ever read. She ate with this book, okay? Whatever crack she put in this book, I was sitting there and I was reading that in class. I wanted to read it so badly that I would search up PDFs on my Chromebook at school just to read it. Like, I wanted to be sat for this book, and I was. And it was such a good read. The twist actually shocked me. It wasn't too predictable. It was really, really interesting. It's like suburban mom kind of vibes. So if you're into that, like, it was so good. Then I read Deep Cuts by Holly Brickley. Holly Brickley. I give that 5 stars. My favorite book of the year that I've read was Deep Cuts at this point. If you are a music lover, you are going to eat that book up. I absolutely love music. I love collecting any sort of music. Vinyls, cassettes, CDs. I love physical media, and music is, for me, musical references and the way they decipher music. It was just so beautifully written. It was like poetic. Like, it was so good. I have so many quotes that I highlighted from this book. Definitely recommend. Also takes place in New York. And in March, I read 1 book. Yeah, your girl's going downhill from January, then February got worse, then March got worse. But it's okay. 1 book is better than no books. So I did a reread because I was in a book slump, and I was like, I need to reread one of my favorite books of all time. So I looked at my shelves, and I picked out Happy Place by Emily Henry. Obviously 5 stars. Emily Henry, hands down my favorite romance author. I'm obsessed with her. She's almost like a woman's fiction romance author, you could say. She's so good. Her books are like just like candy, like eye popcorn. I read them in 2 seconds, and I knew this is what I needed to get out of my slump, and it was what I needed to get out of my slump because April read 5 books. Happy Place is about a group of friends who go to Bar Harbor, Maine every summer. It was a tradition for them since they were young teenagers, especially college times, and they absolutely loved it. And so this was their tradition. So this year was a little bit different because our main character, Harriet, and her supposed fiance, Wynn, actually broke up. But none of the friend group knows it. So when Harriet shows up, all of the friends are like, we surprised you by inviting Wynn here for our trip. And then things start happening because she's like, I don't know if I should tell them that we're not together anymore because they seem so happy for us. So then they have to hide it and fake that they're together, and it's like fake dating. Trust me, it is such a good plot. It is so good, and it's a great summer read. Okay, then in April, like I said, I read 5 books. I started one of my favorite sports romance series of all time. I started the Windy City series. I've not finished it yet. I'm on the last book, about 50% through it. But I'm going to finish it as soon as I'm back from vacation. First book I read was Mile High, and I rated that 4.75 stars. Can we talk about the hate on this book? Because why do people hate so much on this book? People are like, this one is going to put you in a slump. Just push through it. I didn't have to push through the book. I ate that book up. I loved that book so much. Evan Sanders. That's all I have to say. And that's that. Then I read The Right Move. 5 stars. 5 stars. By the way, these are all by Liz Humphort. 5 stars. Ryan Shea. Again, that's all I have to say. And I read Never Lie by Freida McFadden. 4 stars. That was one of my favorite Freida McFadden books as well. I read that one in a day. Literally, like, eating that up. I ate it up. It was so good. So good. Then I read Caught Up. 5 stars. Single Dad Trope. A Single Dad Trope is going to get me every time. The first Single Dad Trope that I read was actually a Lauren Asher book. It was part of the Lakefront Billionaire series. It was the 2nd book, and the little kid was Rico. The dad was the single dad. Anyways, I read that. Then I read Heartless by Elsie Silver, and that's when I knew I fell in love with the Single Dad Trope because Heartless was my favorite out of that series. And then reading Caught Up. Single Dad Trope is just going to do it for me every single time. I love to see it. lastly, I read Play Along, which was 4.75 stars. I love Isaiah. Do not get me wrong. I love Isaiah Rhodes, but Kai Rhodes is it for me. And I know that's controversial because a lot of people say they love Kai Rhodes, but Isaiah Rhodes is for them. But like Kai Rhodes is for me. So then in May, I read 2 books. I didn't do too great that month, but it was also my birthday month, and I had a lot going on because I was finishing high school. Like I said, I graduated this year, so I had prom and I had a lot of things going on. So I was busy and I was working. But I read The Surrogate Mother by Frida McFadden, 4.5 stars. As you guys can tell, whenever I'm in a slump or whenever I just am in need of a really good book, I pick up Frida. I pick up Frida so much. I read so many Frida books. I'm obsessed with her, but she's perfect when you're in a reading slump because they're quick, fast-paced books, and I can read them in a day or 2. They're perfect. Surrogate Mother was so good and not really that predictable, so definitely recommend. Check that one out. Okay, and then the last book I read was Lights Out by Navessa Allen, and I give that 4.5 stars. That was my first look into dark romance, and I ate that up. And yes, I have the other 2 books, so I will be reading those eventually. I listened to the audiobook as well because when I was doing a little search on TikTok about the book, everyone was saying listen to the audiobook. It's so much better with the audiobook. Just trust me. And so I listened to the audiobook. Y'all were not joking. Y'all did not disappoint. It ate with the audiobook. And then this month, so far I've read 3 books, but like I said, it'll be 4 because I am going to finish a book today. I reread Twilight. Obviously 5 stars. If you are not giving Twilight 5 stars, I think you are absolutely incorrect. And that's that. I love Twilight. And then I watched the movie. It was just the most perfect day finishing that book and then watching Twilight. It was so much fun. And then I read One by One by Frida McFadden. It's always going to be Frida McFadden. Let's just say I read Frida McFadden this year. I give that one 3 stars. Not her best thriller. It was short. It was okay. But it was also very repetitive. I thought it was going to take a different turn than it did. Plot twist is what saved it because I was going to give it 2 stars. But the plot twist bumped it up to a 3 star. So, if you were looking for a good plot twist, I recommend that one. And then the last book I read was The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. And I gave that book 4 stars. I have read that before. I read actually the whole series before, like years ago. Someone I knew had like the big massive book of all 3 of them in one, and I binged it. But then I had to give it back to her, and I did not remember much about it. I remember some things. I remember the ending of the whole series. I remember that. I remember some of the parts, but I don't remember everything. So I was like, let me reread it. So I reread it, and now I'm watching the show. Thank you guys for watching. I want to be more consistent with my YouTube posts, so let's hope that I am. I don't know, give me some video ideas, please, because your girl's out of ideas. But that was what I've read so far. So 17 books and counting, because we are just going to keep reading a lot more. And even if you read more than 17, less than 17, it's not a competition. I'll see you guys later.